All right, so there's a lot of information to get across. I'm trying to do it in little bits here. But basically, this is the spinner that spins around and does the image, okay? And I have here the Arduino, the little one. And then these are the 18 lights. And down here I have a battery pack that powers the Arduino and the lights through this USB, okay? There's a handle, and then inside the handle, there is a tiny magnet, and when the magnet goes by this sensor right here, it triggers the image. That way the image starts in the exact same place every time, okay? So this has 3 wires, and the lights have 3 wires, so you'll have a total of 6 things that you have to plug in, okay? It's not hard, okay? You can do this, it's easy. Okay, now, we last left off with having an image. So we need to change that image into an array of a bunch of hexadecimal numbers that tell the red, green, blue for every single pixel, okay? So 18 times however many you got, all right? And now I have a link here in the actual assignment that takes you to this right here, and just you can click on download, and it's gonna take some time and it'll go. And then right here you have your LCD image converter, zip. So you click on it and you'll say show in folder. And it'll probably be in your downloads. What you're gonna do is you're gonna right click on that and you're gonna say extract all. And you can put it somewhere else, but I'm just gonna keep it in the downloads folder for now. But I'll extract it, and then here it is. It's extracted, ready to go. Once you double click on it, you'll have look for the one that says application, okay? And then you'll just click on that, okay? And this will open up right here, okay? Now you're just gonna go File and Open. You're gonna open the thing that you created with the pixel art thing, okay? And make sure, oh, wrong one. Make sure that this right here is set to images. Sometimes it's set to XML. Just make sure it's set to images, or else you might not be able to find what you're looking for. Okay, I'm gonna pick this one right here and say open. And let me get rid of that one. Let me see. That was the wrong one. Okay, open. Let's see. I'm gonna do this one. There we go. I have a Mario question mark, star, and then the cat. I took the time to shrink it down. Okay, so here's how you're going to go with this. First, you're going to click on image, or options, sorry. You're going to click on options, and then you're going to go to conversion. Okay, now you're going to have a few things that are different than mine. All right, this right here, I think it defaults to monochrome, so change it to color. And then this one right here, make sure this says left to right, because as you're spinning, people are going to be looking at it left to right. You're spinning it, yeah. As you're spinning it left to right, you're going to have to, for you, you're spinning it right to left, but the person looking at it, it's left to right, okay? So left to right, and notice that I put this one to backwards, okay? The reason why it's backwards is because we're sending it to the bottom pixel first. Okay, it's going to work its way up. So as you watch the animation, it should show it going from left to right and going from bottom up. So those 3 things you need to make sure they're set to the correct selection right there. And then right here in image, there's one more thing you have to do in here. Make sure that this is not on 8-bit. Make sure it's on 24-bit. Okay. Make sure this is a 0x and a comma, and just look at everything there. Make sure you have everything the same as me. I don't think there's anything else you have to do. I think all the rest of this stuff is not needed. Okay, so yeah, 24-bit and color left to right backward. That should do it. Then you say show preview, and it should look something like this, where it has 18 numbers, and then it spaces down and does another 18 spaces down. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yes, that's how you double check, make sure you did it right, and voila. Okay. Now, I have in the actual, let me just put that on hold for a second. Go back to my assignment. Now down here in the bottom, all you have to do is copy paste all of this into an Arduino program, okay? So if I go to Arduino, and open it, I actually have it already. So, so here it is. So all you have to do is right here, where it says put your picture right here, just highlight that and paste it in. Oh, I didn't copy it. Let me copy it. So I'm going to go from the top all the way to the bottom, Control C, go to your Arduino, and put it right here. Boom. Okay. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And so you can see it's a lot of code right there. If you look at it carefully, you can kind of see an outline of where Mario is, and then where the question mark is, the star, and then the rest of this is the cat. And the only reason it looks like a super long, complicated code is just because there's all that in it. But in all reality, this is it from here down. So you got to make sure you have Fast LED downloaded in your library. So if you don't have that, you go and you have to say include library, manage libraries, to make sure you have Fast LED in there. Okay, because if you don't, you got to get it. Okay, sometimes mine has it in Sketch, and some versions of Arduino have it under Tools. So find that and put that in. Anyway, so what it has here are some numbers that you need to have. So right here, you need to put the right number in right here. My image is 100 pixels wide. If you made one that was 120 or 150 or only 50, you need to change this to be the same as this, okay? And then the number of LEDs, if you're in my class, it's 18. If somebody else is doing this and they made this with more or less LEDs, you got to change that. The data pin, this is where we're plugging in the data wire to our Arduino. We're going to put it into number 3. So make sure you plug it into the right spot. And then our magnetic sensor is going to go to A0. And then this is telling it, you know, what type of LEDs we got and how many we have again. Okay. Down here, this is a function that tells the mag sensor what to look for. Okay. It's waiting for a number to go high, low and then high again. And then Here we have the setup. This activates the LEDs. This tells it how bright to be. This is full brightness. If you think it's too bright, then you can lower this, but you can't go over 255. This is activating the magnet and then actually making it run electricity through the sensor itself, okay? Because it has to be powered to work. And this actually also activates an internal pull-up resistor and makes it work right. Then down here, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 lines of code. That's the whole thing that makes it work. Just that. Okay, so basically it clears everything so there's no lights shining, and then it waits for the magnet. And as soon as the magnet goes by, then it's going to start on the first column, which is actually 0. Okay, and for the first column, it has to do each pixel going up for 18 LEDs. So it looks at the number of LEDs, and so a number of LEDs, that's 18. So it goes from 0 to 18 and goes into here. This right here it's going into the memory, program memory, and it's looking for, it's going to image, and it gets the number from up here. So if it's 0, it'll be 0 times the number of LEDs plus I. So if it starts out at 0, 0, 0, then it's going to go to the very, very first number in the array, because that has the position of 0. Then this has the position of 1. And so as it goes through those 2 for loops, this one right here is just looking at each column. And then this one right here is looking at each LED in that column. And it's going to go in here and show it, okay? So it's setting it equal. So it's going in here and says, okay, put the 0, because this is 0. Computers always start at 0. Anyway, we're used to starting at 1, but computers start at 0. So it's going to start at 0 and say, okay, look up there, find the color, set it to that, set it to that. So it sets all of them, but it doesn't show them till it's done doing all of them. It comes down here, it shows them, then it comes back up here, it counts to the next column, and then it goes through all of them and sets them, and then it shows it. So each time it shows it, now notice how I didn't put any delay, because we're running this as fast as it can possibly go. There's no delay. So however fast it can find all those and then display it, that's as fast as we can go. Because we need it to be able to project an image, and this thing is moving really fast. If it projects too fast, then you can put a delay in there of like a couple, maybe microseconds, but maybe 1 millisecond, but you don't want a whole lot of space in between your things. You'll see really quick. Anyway, so that's how the actual program works. And this is all the info. Yours will be different, of course. Notice that. Make sure you still have the beginning and end curly brackets on that. And this program mem, that's what puts it into the memory. All right. Now, I'm going to upload this into my Arduino and see if it works. I have a really short cable. A second. There it goes. So tools, got a nano, COM4, we're good. And then we're gonna go upload. Move me out of the way, you can see it right here, it's uploading. Okay, I think we're good. I unplugged it. Now here's where the battery pack comes in. We have to plug it in before it'll actually work. Okay, now nothing happens until the magnet goes by. Boom, you can see it on my face flashing. Every time the magnet goes by, it flashes. Okay, I'm just going to do that image. So there's Mario, there's the question mark, there's the star, and then there's the cat. Okay, and you can't see it very well with the camera because cameras only take a picture like 30 times a second, and this thing's moving a lot faster than that as far as like flashing the lights. Okay. Anyway, they look really good from a distance. Right now, these lights are really bright. They're set to full brightness. And it's just like, boom, see how much it flashes right there? So the camera's not going to pick up the color very well, but you'll be able to see it really well with the naked eye. And if it's, again, if it's way too bright, what you want to do is change the brightness, which is right here, okay? 255 might be a little too bright, so turn it down. If you're showing this in the daytime, you want 255. If you're showing it at night, maybe 100, okay? Otherwise, people are gonna be like, turn it off. If you're having problems with the magnetic sensor, what you wanna do is down here, wait for magnet. What you can do is comment it out, and then it'll just display your image over and over again. It won't wait for anything. And then once you figure out what's wrong with your magnet sensor, then you can put it back in. But if you don't have it in there and it's just flashing over and over again, the image won't line up the same every time, okay? And the way I got it to move is I was actually turning the handle and changing where the magnet was. So if the image isn't in the right spot, you just turn the handle so the magnet is in a different spot and it'll start the image in another place. So it's pretty cool how that all works. Now, when you're building this thing, you want to make it so that one side is slightly heavier than the other, not super heavy, you know, it's going to come down, but it's not very, it's not like super heavy. I can just just lift it up a little bit. I've had some people make the battery pack heavier and some people make this side heavier, which is what I did. If you make them both the same, then it's going to be really hard to get it spinning. Okay, but if you make it really heavy, then you're like using a lot of muscles and you're like, oh, this is tiring. So if you get that perfect amount, then you can get it just right. I've used duct tape to hold the battery pack on. I have screws holding this on, and I have duct tape holding this on. So that's how I got all this on there. And again, a screw right here with the washer and the washer. The other thing I want to go over is where to plug everything in. Okay. And I want to talk about the magnetic sensor. So this is the magnetic sensor. If you look at it, it's got these bevels to it, and it has 3144, 402 written on the front. And if you're looking at the front, then you know it goes 5 volts. You can see that, 5 volts, ground, A0 in that order. Okay, 5 volts, ground, A0. Remember that. Write it down. Copy this on a piece of paper so you know. Maybe you can even write it on your board so that if it accidentally comes unplugged, you know where they go. Okay. All right, so here's my Arduino right here. So if you look at it, I have the wires from the actual light display right here. They're really short, and they were too short, so I added extensions, but the extensions were too long, so they wrap around the board and then they plug in. Okay, so the red always goes to 5 volts, the black always goes to ground. All right. And so I'm going to actually move this from there. This will make it easier, I think. All right. So if you look at this, now I got 2 in ground and I got 2 in 5 volts. Okay, because the mag sensor needs a ground and 5 volts, and this needs a ground and 5 volts. Okay. Um, and the battery pack is providing power to this, but it also shares it with the Arduino. So as soon as I turn on the battery pack, that's when it turns on everything else. Okay. The Arduino is getting power, sharing it with it. And then the only other two, see there's only 2 other plugs there. One of them is going to D3 and the other one is going to A0. And I think that'll make the wiring a lot easier to look at. Okay. Colors of the wires change right here. They're not red and black because the extensions weren't red and black. You just got to remember, okay, the red one went into a white wire, so therefore my white wire has to go to ground. So you just got to keep track of what colors go to what colors and how they work. Okay, so I think that will help you wire this up and make it work really well. Okay, so and you want this to be slightly loose, not too loose, but you want it to be able to freely spin. Okay, don't whack your computer. All right, now to turn it on my battery pack, there's a button on the side, tiny button. So make sure when you attach this, you make it so you don't cover up your port and make it so you can plug into your Arduino. It was hard for me, but I got it. So make sure you can get to all your stuff, your ports, your charger for the battery. You got to be able to charge up your battery every once in a while. Although these will last forever off of this battery. All right. So I'm going to push the button, it turns on, and then everything else should work. And as soon as the magnet goes by, it flashes the image. So it works really, really well, really, really nice. One more thing. Hopefully people didn't turn it off too soon. The magnetic sensor right here. Notice how I had to, I'll turn it right here. I had to bend it so that the face of it goes right by the magnet. Now, the sensor is very picky. One side of it likes the south pole of the magnet, and the other one likes the north pole of the magnet. I have no idea if this is north or south on this magnet. We just glued it in there. So you have a 50-50 chance of getting that magnetic sensor right. So before you bend it and put it on there, I'll take it off here for a second. Before you bend it, upload the program and just wave it by it. Okay, wave it by it and make sure it's working. My battery shut off. Hold on. So what I did before I bent it is I just took it, I made sure it was plugged in right, and then I just waved it by it. And if it didn't work, then I flipped it over and then waved it by it again until I found the right side that worked. If neither side works, then there's something wrong with your wiring or your code or something. Shouldn't be the code because I gave you the right code. All right, probably your wiring. So double check the diagram here, okay? Anyway, so that's everything that'll make it work, okay? So when you want a new image, you'll just copy paste in a new image, okay? You just delete this one and put in a new one and then spin that one, just upload it, same as you did before. And then you should have a whole nother image. And you can take pictures with if you take pictures, if you are able to control how long your shutter stays open, if you can make it stay open for a long time, if you darken the room, that helps. You can take a picture and hopefully you'll get the whole image all at once. Okay. And I think that's everything I got for you. Hopefully it'll work and we'll get everybody with a working Arduino and POV one.